Well, we have some good news and some bad news for you.
Good news first.
All right, the good news is, across the board, the U.S. is sending less trash to landfills than ever.
Yay!
You ready for the bad news?
I guess.
Well, if you live in one of these states that we're about to show you, you're still swimming in trash.
We got 5 states that we're going to bring up on the list here with the most trash per capita, according to a 2019 study that analyzed data from the EPA and the U.S. Census. There they are right there: Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Now, that problem piles up, especially in cities dealing with illegal dumping. Terrill Haigler is a former Philadelphia sanitation worker who's now devoting his time to cutting down on waste in his community, all while helping people in need with his nonprofit Trash to Treasure. But he's better known as Ya Fav Trashman. So I guess you're our fave trash man now. Thanks so much for being with us. Can you talk a little bit about, can you talk a little bit about how you went through that transition and the why?
Sure. So I was a sanitation worker through the pandemic and just realized all the things that were happening to sanitation workers, to people being at home. Over 400 sanitation workers caught COVID or had to quarantine. And it was just really hard. 30% more trash on the ground. You know, trucks were getting full in like 3 blocks that usually take like 20 blocks. So I started posting on Instagram so people could actually be nice to me. People were so angry about how sanitation workers were coming late. We were 4 to 5 days behind, like all of those things. And on the Instagram, I was just like, hey guys, we're human beings too. We're doing one of the most hazardous jobs in the world, and we're keeping you safe. Like, have a little grace, have a little understanding. And it just shifted into a whole movement of respect for sanitation workers, but even more, a respect for our community and a respect for just keeping ourselves clean. And the rest is history. I've organized over 84 community cleanups, and I've picked up over 450 tons of trash off the streets in Philadelphia.
So this moved you into nonprofit work. So what types of work and events does your nonprofit do, and how does that help, reinforce that sense of community that you've worked on building?
Yeah, so my nonprofit is called Trash to Treasure, and it's because in trash, I found the treasure inside of me. So I want to use that message for neighborhoods that feel forgotten, that are still dirty, that deal with illegal dumping and litter. So I host community resource days where I come in and I have a bunch of volunteers and we clean the entire neighborhood. But we also give out about 2,000 pounds of food. And then we also sign people up for job fairs, or I have people do record expungement, and we just do anything: home health aid, COVID tests, eye checks, ear checks. I just bring a bunch of resources to the community so that they start to feel heard, they start to feel acknowledged, but then it shifts their perspective. And once we clean their neighborhood, more times than not, they keep it clean. I've done, I said 84 cleanups, and I would say like maybe 60% of the neighborhoods that we've cleaned are still clean because now people have pride and they feel like Terrill came in, he did this big event, and we got to keep our neighborhood clean now.
No,
awesome.
that's so cool, man. You're making communities more beautiful. But going back to you mentioned illegal dumping. How do you combat that? How do we eliminate that?
That's like a multi-layered answer. For me, it's one, educating people about illegal dumping and like all the things around, where it comes from, how it happens. And then also two is like enforcement. When people illegally dump, if they don't feel like they're going to get caught, if they don't feel like they're going to get fined, if they don't feel like anything's going to happen, they're going to keep doing it. So I'm always encouraging people to add cameras, report. You see somebody, illegal dumping, get their license plate and then give it to city officials, and maybe they'll get their business license fined and revoked or something. We have to start making people feel the pressure when they illegally dump and get caught, because, just like a child, they're going to keep doing it until they get in trouble for it.
I'm curious, as a former sanitation worker and now this nonprofit, all the work that you do, has this changed your personal habits about what you throw away and how you throw it away?
It has tremendously, and it's also changed my family's perspective. Like, I think now I get invited to less events because I'm always asking people like, where's the recycling going? Did you wash out the glass? So I think that they're starting to invite me to less events, Or if they do invite me, like I'm in charge of all the trash and recycling and our composting now. I'm like, all this extra food, we're going to leave, we're going to compost. But it's such, I just feel good when everything around me is organic, it's healthy, Mother Earth is surviving, and I'm teaching my children the same thing. My children are trying to start composting programs at their school, and they're calling it a
That's
cleanup
great.
crew. So now there's a bunch of kids that meet once a week and they clean around their school. So it's pretty awesome.
Terrill Haigler, you really are our favorite trash man. Ya Fav Trashman. Find him on social media. Thank you so much for what you're doing. And I think that's so important too, just like the awareness that these people, everybody doing something is human. We hide behind a keyboard and we type mean things and we say mean things. Like, no, we're all human here. We're all working together.
And I think it's a perfect example of, it just takes one person to start doing something, and then the change just ripples out from that.